When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle. Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast where there's nothing to fear but beer itself.
Oh, no.
Yes.
It's delicious.
You're not allowed to drink it.
Shut your hole.
You shut your hole.
Oh, I want it so bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Also, I like beer. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. I hate beer.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today, oh, Mamma Mia,
we're going to talk about Rome and do offensive Italian accents, probably.
Whatever. You can't be racist against white people. We're going to talk about Rome.
Yeah.
And ancient Rome.
Yeah. Thanks, Pip.
And Roman helmets.
Helmets? We're going to talk about helmets?
Maybe.
Oh.
They look like dicks. But not really.
They look like the head of a dick?
Kyle?
Yeah?
I took my pills.
Okay.
They do not appear to be working today.
Do you need to double up? Do you need to do a double shot of pills?
No, I'm trying to save them because RFK is going to take them away from me.
Right. Pretty soon.
Oh, no.
And in place, give us all brainworms.
Did you see the motherfucker said the antidepressants are bad?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, this is not the news, Kyle.
Oh, okay.
Although he didn't make the news because there's nothing gay about him. He's just an asshole.
Yeah. That's gay, being an asshole.
Yeah.
As long as dicks go in there.
That's true. You should put a dick in his brain.
Yeah.
Or something.
Or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Why are we here?
We're talking about Rome.
Oh.
Well, not yet, but we will be.
Oh, we're podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We can do it. Hey, everybody. Come to our show.
Come to our live show. We're doing a live show across the country this year.
You do. You say them, Kyle.
We are going to be at Atlanta this weekend, so get your tickets at Round Trip Brewing.
Hey, listen to Kyle. Everyone listen to Kyle.
Round Trip Brewing, February 22nd at 2 p.m. In Chicago, we'll be at Sidetrack March 8th at 2 p.m. In D.C., we'll be at Pitchers March 22nd at 2 p.m. In San Francisco, we'll be at Oasis April 6th at 2 p.m. And Dallas, we will be at the Rose Room April 20th at 1 p.m.
If you're interested in coming to any of those because you're a good person, you should go to gayishpodcast.com/book. All the info is there and the links to the Eventbrite places to buy tickets.
Yeah. We're looking forward to seeing you out on the road.
Okay.
Mike is lukewarm.
I will be there.
Mike will be present and accounted for. I will be excited.
Great.
And bring your books.
Yeah, bring your books. We'll sign them.
Yeah. We
should have some books on hand to sell, but don't count on that.
Yeah, not very many.
Hey, while I'm thinking about it, we are turning 8 years old very, very soon. Soon. And if you want to send us 8th birthday presents, I love presents.
Yeah.
But what we really want is for you to buy us copies of our book and then keep them.
Buy us copies of the book for yourself. I love that. Yeah. That's a gift for us that you don't, and then you can send us pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
On Discord.
Exactly.
And then we know you bought it and that you love us. Yeah. Great.
Now the news.
Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
Kyle, I don't know what my deal is today. Oh, I know. I'm too happy. The news will fix that. News the first.
Yeah.
Actually, this is good news. And a major victory for trans youth and their families. A federal judge in Maryland has blocked President Shitbag McTurkberger's executive orders that sought to strip away access to gender-affirming medical care for minors. So he implemented, released, authorized, signed an executive order that banned gender-affirming care to patients under 19. And the ruling, which was issued last week in Baltimore by U.S. District Judge Brendan Herson, halts enforcement of that ban nationwide.
Ha! Suck on that.
It was filed by Lambda Legal. Hey. PFLAG. Oh, hey. And the ACLU. And the ACLU of Maryland. And yeah, the court found that the orders are likely unconstitutional and that Trump cannot impose such a sweeping restriction on medical providers. I said his name. Shit.
Is your hope to never say his real name?
Yeah.
He didn't deserve it.
If he's is it backwards, is it Pemert?
Take
like
that.
If I just have you edit it and reverse it.
Oh, put it backwards like they do with some curse words in movies when they air on TBS.
Exactly, or just beep it, but like not just a beep because that means. But some other kind of like auga beep or a fart. Make it sound like a fart whenever I say his name.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. I just
son of a bitch.
Just a heads up.
Brian K. Bond, who is the CEO of PFLAG National, said, quote, "Good and decent parents of transgender kids should never be in the frightening position of having their child's prescribed medically necessary care canceled at the whim and threat of a politician."
Yeah.
And I could not agree more. We'll see what happens. Obvi, that will be appealed and will go up through the courts into the cesspool of horrific monsters that is called the Supreme Court. And who knows what they're going to do. But for now, business as usual. Trans kids.
Take a win when we get it.
Yeah.
Because it's that's all you can do. That's all you can hope for.
Yep.
Everything's good and you should feel good today.
Yeah. For now.
Until this next story.
Yeah. Until this next story. News the second.
Yeah.
The National Park Service, which owns and operates the official Stonewall National Monument, and therefore the Stonewall National Monument's website, has removed the T from LGBTQ, as well as any references to transgender people, which Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, it's a little difficult to call them trans because that's sort of a newer word. Transgender is sort of a newer word.
They call themselves transvestites.
Right.
So
Exactly. But like, you kind of can't talk about what happened at Stonewall without talking about trans people because front lines and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gross. It's like no one of intelligence or like compassion wants to see LGB show up without the T.
Yep.
So it's gross that they did that, especially gross that it's to Stonewall where trans people were so active in that movement.
Yep. Well, and they've also removed the word queer. So before Wednesday, the NPS website, National Park Service website, read, quote, "Before the 1960s, almost everything about living openly as a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer person was illegal." And now it says, "Before the 1960s, almost everything about living openly as a lesbian, gay, bisexual person was illegal." And I want to be clear, just, I don't know who like needs to hear this, probably nobody, but it's not the bar. Like the Stonewall Inn is a bar. It is privately owned and operated. But the national monument is a 7.7 acre national monument in the Village, and it includes the area around the Stonewall Inn and the park across the street. So, like, in case you're wondering how the National Park Service gives a flying fuck about what a bar does or doesn't do on their website.
Right.
I don't know, Kyle.
Yeah, how you doing?
I mean, it's fine. Okay, here's the thing. I was thinking about this morning, and I got real mad. Like, real mad. And then I did a little light domestic violence, and everything was fine. No, I'm kidding. The same motherfuckers who are all up in arms about the Confederate flag being pulled down or statues of Confederate generals, also known as second place trophies, get taken down because of the legacy of slavery, and then decry the erasure of our history, are literally fucking erasing our history.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Yeah. Focus on something that matters, first of all. Because really the only impact this has is negative impact on queer people. It's not going to make the price of eggs better, which is something you said on the last episode. It's not going to make anything about your pathetic, tiny dicked life better. And just goddamn.
Yeah.
Fucking hate people. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's totally fair to have a big reaction to them. They're doing what we expect, which is trying to erase trans people from, like, trying to scrub trans people from existence, like pretend like they're not real. And trans people are not going to go anywhere. They're going to keep being real humans that you can see and touch and feel, if given permission, I guess. But that's not going to change anything about trans people existing, no matter how hard you try.
Also, all dicks are great, even the tiny ones, unless they're attached to Republicans. I would just want to make my sentiments clear.
Okay, good call. All dicks are good dicks, except dickish dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Republican dicks, regardless of size, are bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, news the last.
Yeah.
This is my favorite story of the week. I was going to talk about it a week or two ago, but then new facts came to light, Kyle.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah. So, Ohio Democrats have introduced a bill in their legislature that is called the, quote, Conception Begins at Erection Act.
What? Wait, no.
And it makes it illegal.
Mike, The Onion is a satire.
It makes it illegal to come without intent to conceive. But not if you're gay.
Wait. I can't tell what part of this is real. I think every week you should do one news story that just is a complete lie and see if we can guess which one isn't real, because I bet it'd be harder than you think.
Well, I will explain more.
Okay, please do.
The Conception Begins at Erection Act, proposed by Democratic State Representative Anita Salmani and Tristan Rader, would impose a $1,000 fine for a first offense, $5,000 for a second offense, and $10,000 for any subsequent offense to, quote, discharge semen or genetic material without intent to fertilize an embryo, but contains exceptions for men using birth control, donating sperm, masturbating, or having sex with another man or member of the LGBTQ plus community that won't produce ova. So it's very carefully tailored to aim at men having straight sex without protection if they don't intend to father a child with the person that they are having sex with. And quote, you don't get pregnant on your own. If you're going to penalize someone for an unwanted pregnancy, why not penalize the person who is also responsible for the pregnancy? Samani, who is an OBGYN, told News 5 Cleveland, quote, just like abortion bills have penalized physicians or created felonies for physicians and patients, the intent of the bill is to show that we should not be policing anybody's reproductive right. There's no chance of this bill passing. It's not intended to pass. It is just to show that how about we make men and women jointly responsible? So, quote, if you think it's absurd to regulate men, then you should think it's equally absurd to regulate women. Yeah. If Republicans think that it's a waste of taxpayer money, well, then they should think the same on the other side.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. My fear in this political climate is that someone would put up a joke bill like this and then all Republicans would be like, fine, let's do it and just pass it because we're passing some crazy shit right now.
But then we would have the option of malicious compliance, right? Like we could stalk people and like make sure that they are Republicans and like go after them with fines until they like got their shit together.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like this whole idea of like they seem to take such pleasure in wielding the levers of power with no intention of doing so in a way that's actually good for society, but is just to hurt other people that they feel are other.
Yeah.
So we should do the same when we can. Maybe. I don't know. Peaceful protests and voting doesn't seem to fucking work. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
God damn it, Kyle, you ruined my mood.
I didn't do it. The news did this to you, I think.
That's the news.
That's the news. Speaking of people I want to ruin.
Consensually ruin.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to thank Pip for requesting this episode. So this Patreon segment and this full episode goes out to him. At a certain level of Patreon, you get to request a specific episode topic. We'll sit down and meet with you, have a little production meeting, plan out the episode, and this was Pip's request.
Yeah.
You can also, at other levels of Patreon, get ad-free episodes a day early, get bonus segments and episodes, use Mike's hole.
Use my hole.
And lots of other fun things. Ooh, swallowed right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually a compliment. But if you want to sign up, go to patreon.com/Gayish podcast. I took my pills.
Do it.
Do you want to talk about Rome?
Let's talk about Rome.
Oh, what are we going to talk about Rome? Pip?
Oh, Roma. Well, first of all, Kyle, have you been to Rome?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
When did you go and why?
I went when I graduated college. I did like this whirlwind trip of Europe, and I went to Rome for just a few days by myself.
So a long time ago because you're old now.
Yes, long time ago because now I'm old. There were times where that wasn't so long ago, but we're past those times, and now it is a long time ago.
Yeah. What do you remember about it? What?
I remember it was real old. I remember seeing the old stuff. I saw the Trevi Fountain.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Colosseum. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Walked around, ate some food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Have you been?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went with my ex-wife.
Oh,
so
cool.
Even longer ago, Kyle. It's actually like one of the last things that we did while we were married.
Oh, at the beginning of the end?
I think. Yeah. Now that's all murky.
Huh.
But yeah, it was like I don't know, damn near 20 years ago, if not more. Ish. More than 15, less than 20 years ago. Maybe about the same time. What if we were in Rome at the same time?
That would have been wild. That would have been quite the coincidence.
Who knows? We could probably figure it out.
We could probably. I don't know if I could remember any details enough to be a helpful person.
What I'm realizing though is anything after like 1996, give or take, I have at least some chance of retrieving information because I've had a Hotmail account for that long and continue to use it for stuff. So there's at least one source of like data to mine about my own biography.
Do you still use a Hotmail account?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Wow, that's dedication.
You don't like that?
No.
Boyfriend has an AOL account, which I think that's even better.
That's a lot. You also have a Gmail account.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I use it for more legit things. Like Hotmail is like, if I'm giving you my Hotmail address, it's because like you are some sort of loyalty program, or
right.
I want to better ignore you.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. That's a good use of Hotmail. But we're talking about Rome.
We are talking about Rome, and Pip, when we sat down and talked to him, wanted us to focus on ancient Rome, and we're going to talk about ancient Rome plenty.
But I'm going to talk about current Rome too.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you about the history of Rome, Kyle.
Sure. Why not?
What do you know about the history of Rome?
Oh, God, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
I don't know. No.
Well, okay, this was a good talk.
What do I know about history is another question that would get not a very helpful answer.
So, Romulus and Remus. Do you know anything about them?
Brothers?
They are brothers. Very good.
Nailed it.
Anything else?
Built Rome.
Well, one of them did.
Okay, assuming that's why we're talking about them.
Yeah, in Roman mythology, Romulus and Remus were twin brothers, and their life, more Romulus than Remus, leads to the founding of the city of Rome, and then the Roman kingdom by extension. So basically, if you see statues of like two boys drinking milk from a she-wolf's tits, that's Romulus and Remus.
Okay. No.
You see it places like when you're walking around Rome, you will see that symbol referenced in different ways. Okay, so the story is Romulus and Remus were born in the area near Rome, the Seven Hills of Rome, as it's come to be called now. And their mother was a Vestal virgin and daughter of former King Numitor. And he had been, his brother had taken over as king and displaced him. But because she was a Vestal Virgin, was not supposed to be doing the nasty. So everyone was really interested when she got pregnant. Yeah. And she...
Suspicious.
Also, who does this sound like?
Fucking Mary.
Yeah, except this was how long before Mary? A lot. About 800 years.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, so she said, oh, well, it's actually... So the reason I'm pregnant is because I totally got busy with Mars, the Roman god of war.
Oh.
So, like, he's why.
Okay, so she at least copped up to the copulation.
But she was banging a god.
Yeah, good for her.
Which I think Mary probably also got railed by God, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
That seems...
Siemens.
Okay, so she got busy with a god and had these twins. So the king, who is their uncle then, right, ordered that the twins be killed, and instead of killing them, they were abandoned on the bank of the Tiber River, that's the river that goes through the Rome area. And basically that's when this lady wolf found them and suckled them on her dog tits. And
this is good and normal.
And that's how they survived.
Okay.
In a cave.
Okay.
That some people think they know what cave it is. It's very odd.
Huh.
So that they survived long enough then to be discovered and adopted by Faustulus, who was a shepherd, him and his wife. So then they like later on after, because they grow up as farmers, not knowing that they're like royalty or whatever. And then they grow up and eventually they discover that they are royalty, and then they start taking over and fighting back and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So as part of that process, they decided to build a city. And Romulus preferred Palatine Hill, and Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. And they couldn't figure out where to form the city. Should it be on this hill or that hill? And so the story goes that they asked for the gods' approval, and they had a bird watching contest to decide which hill to build it on, which apparently that was also super normal.
That's the lamest contest you could have.
I know. I agree. Well, so apparently Remus saw 6 vultures, and but Romulus saw 12 and claimed that meant that he had divine approval. And then they got in a fight over which one was right. And then so depending on which story you read, either Romulus killed Remus because he insulted him and his suggestion of where to build the city, or one of Romulus's supporters killed Remus. But either way,
over birds
and which hill to start your city on because you're supposed to be a king.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's likely that none of that happened.
Okay.
Right? Like a lot of things in history, the historicity comes into question. Mm-hmm. But Romulus is considered the founder of Rome, was the first king of Rome, but
that part's real.
That part, it's not a slam dunk. So Roman historians dated the founding of Rome around 753 BC, so 8th century BC. But the myth, the first time that we see the myth like in print is from the late 3rd century BC. So there's like 450 years between when all of this shit was supposed to have gone down and somebody thought maybe we should write it down. Mm. That's also not true. It's really difficult sometimes for things to survive that long. It's just the first writings that we have are from that time, but you'd expect it to be maybe earlier if it was indeed earlier. Anyway, the gay part. I was going to talk about the gay part.
Yeah, there's a gay part?
There's not really a
hopefully
gay part.
Not with these two brothers.
No. But some people have said that there are queer overtones to this story.
Okay.
That you can use as a lens to sort of interpret it or understand it. And one of the things is chosen family. So this idea that Faustulus and his wife adopted these boys, and raised them as their own, and it's when their own uncle was trying to kill them, that can be read as a queer allegory. So that
I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know how much of this I'm buying that it's a queer allegory.
Yeah. Well, drink some dog milk and maybe that'll help.
Okay. Who says I don't?
Well, does Reynolds make milk? No, don't answer that. Anyway, this crazy ass story is how Rome was supposedly founded, and it's been there, ever since. And this is how we then sort of start to talk about how the Romans felt about gay stuff. And we didn't really order how we were going to do our segments, did we?
No, we didn't.
But we're in the olden times, so probably should continue.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we talk about this on the show all the time, Kyle. Gay is an identity. Mm-hmm. Homosexual is an adjective that can describe behavior. Mm-hmm. And neither term existed much before the second millennium AD, right?
Yeah.
No, the third millennium AD. Second millennium. 1800s.
Right.
Now, that being said, we know that the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, were like down with the butt sex, especially if it was a older male and a younger male, and it was this like mentoring kind of, I don't know, like mentor-mentee relationship just with orgasms, or which is it's uncomfortable to talk about for us for the obvious reasons, but not so obvious to them apparently. Okay, so in ancient Rome, it started out not being quite so gay, and then they had a lot of interaction with the Greeks because they're like sort of nearby.
Did the Greeks rub off on them?
That's the thing. So there is disagreement about this. So in the 2nd century BC, there were homoerotic themes that start to pop up in Latin literature. And that is about the same time that there was an increasing Greek influence on Roman culture in the 2nd century. I already said the 2nd century part. Okay, but there were a couple of differences that a lot of people think mean that like the Romans came to it by themselves. First is that to the Romans it was less bad for freeborn male citizens of equal status to bang. Usually there was a difference of age, but that was usually, whereas with the Greeks it was more of a hard and fast rule. It's like a man and a boy. That's the Greek thing. Romans were sort of like, it's okay if you hook up with somebody that's like the same social status as you, or maybe even the same age as you. And per usual, and we see this in lots of different societies, it was better to be the top, if not required to be the top.
Yeah.
That the bad part wasn't the gay part, but the being a bottom part.
Yeah. Top privilege has existed since before history, in the version of the Romans, I think. Yep.
And for them, it was really about power. So,
which is hot.
It was all about who is the penetrator and who is being penetrated, and that the proper way for a Roman male to seek sexual gratification, quote, is to insert his penis into his partner.
That no other way to say it.
Yep. And so it was fine. Bang chicks, bang dudes, don't care as long as you're the top.
Yeah.
Was like that was the thing. Which is interesting to me. I think that like it's like the Romans, like there are lots of people that think that everybody is bi, and that if they don't think that they're bi, that they're just in denial about it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what bi people think.
Well, maybe. But also it sounds like kind of Roman society sort of thought that too. Like to them, a hole is a goal. Mostly.
Yeah. Isn't it so gross that like it's always like you putting the penis in somewhere is always the cool action, the cool thing. You're cool for doing that. It's like, but where the penis goes is now like dirty or shitty or slutty or
Yep.
defiled.
Yep. Well, and
your penis is the dirty thing. Then, if that's what's making the thing become now bad or unwanted, it's your penis that's the problem. Just took down all tops.
That bill in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's the penis that's the problem.
Penis that's the problem. Yeah.
Okay, so eventually, like, Roman queerness, male queerness, arrives at a fairly stable model where, like, we see references to homosexual desire or practice being more or less normalized, and appears in literature and histories pretty regularly. So, in a Atellan farce authored by Quintus Novius, it is said by one of the characters that, quote, everyone knows that a boy is superior to a woman, and then goes on to list physical attributes, and it makes it sort of clear that, like, the attractive part is all stuff that happens after puberty. So more of a phebophilia instead of a pedophilia, as far as, like, the way that they were conceiving of it.
Okay. Does that make it feel better?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But there's in Novius, who's the author, there's another fragment. We don't have the whole book, but a fragment that says that the sexual use of boys ceases after, quote, their butts become hairy.
I mean, for some guys on Sniffies, it's the opposite. But
yeah, right. A preference for smooth male bodies over hairy ones is also avowed elsewhere in Roman literature.
Rude.
Well, you know, but enough that we think that most Roman men of the time felt similarly,
Yeah.
that like body hair was bad. But one way that they disagreed with the Greeks. The Greeks did not like big dicks, but the Romans very much did.
how do you know this? This is interesting information. How do we know?
Well, so in Greek references to men and male bodies and homosexual behavior, any kind of sexual behavior, a small penis was viewed as ideal because a big penis meant that you were more of a brute. You were sort of a lower moral value. You had just not proper, and there was kind of like a, I don't know. It was like big and ugly. It was the thought, and you can see that in like the art, the statues that survive, and a lot of like poetry, literary references to penis size. But in Roman society, apparently a big dick was great. So Petronius goes on about this dude with a giant dick in a public bathroom, and like that being something that he was pro. There were several emperors who were reported by historians of the time in a negative light because they surrounded themselves with men with large sexual organs.
Damn, if I was a king, I'd defo have just big dick jesters all around me.
That was a thing. So a lot of emperors had harems, and those harems included men, and a lot of those men had giant dicks because that's like the anyway. I should have been a Roman, Kyle. And again, I put this note in here just to keep hammering home the point. Homosexual and heterosexual did not form the primary dichotomy of Roman thinking about sexuality. There are no words in Latin for those concepts. That leads to mistranslations of the Bible.
Oh.
Like, we have mistranslated Latin phrases into English because we want gay shit to be in the Bible and prohibitions against gay shit to be in the Bible, but there are no Latin words that mean the same thing. It's just bullshit.
When should I am at some point going to tell you about words for gay?
Great.
But they're not, they have all these slightly different meanings. So
Well, I can come back to like the gay ass emperors.
Oh, should I tell you some gay words?
In just a little bit, I'm going to tell you a joke first.
Okay.
Ausonius in the 4th century AD, he made a joke about men in a threesome.
Okay.
He said, quote, 3 men in bed together, 2 are sinning, 2 are sinned against. And the person responds, well, doesn't that make 4 men? He says, no, you're mistaken. The man on either end is implicated once, but the one in the middle does double duty. So it's a joke about running a train, and the first man penetrates the second penetrates the third, so the first 2 are sinning and the last 2 are being sinned against. Anyway,
Hot.
yeah. Anyway, so words.
Love
you want to talk about words?
Okay, so in ancient Rome, a man or a boy who took the receptive role in sex was called various things.
Great.
And I'm going to tell you about them and their slightly different connotations.
Oh, God help us. Okay.
There's Cineatus, which is a derogatory word denoting a male who was gender deviant.
Cineatus?
Cineadus. Yeah.
Because that's way too long.
It doesn't roll right off the tongue.
Any good slur, you need like 1, maybe 2 syllables.
Yeah.
And it needs more like consonants.
Yeah, I agree. We won't pick this one up and try to incorporate it in our everyday vocabulary.
Cineatus.
Although it's the most frequent word for a male who allowed himself to be penetrated anally, a person called this might also have sex with and be considered highly attractive to women.
Ooh.
So
that's a thing that we've talked about recently, right? You were just mentioning that. It's in the book. I forget where we were that you were talking about it. Oh, God, Kyle.
What?
Like, I never know if we're on the air or not now. It's just
If we recorded that conversation or if we just talked.
Yeah. But the study that was like, if you tell women that the pictures that they're looking at are of gay dudes, they will rate them as more attractive.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes. But they also had sex with women as well.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So it is not equivalent to the word faggot, except that both words can be used to deride a male considered deficient in manhood or with androgynous characteristics, but who women still find alluring. Originally, Cineatus was a professional dancer, and his performance featured tambourine playings and movements of the buttocks.
Oh, wait, what? Is that like the puppetry of the penis show that used to go around?
A little bit. I think this was a little bit more suggestive and like a little bit more wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, that
like you could
suggested anal intercourse.
You could draw a face on each cheek and have a conversation by.
Hi, I'm Lefty. Hi, I'm Ready. What are you doing over there? Oh, just sitting. Like I don't know. There's Pathicus, which is a blunt word for a male who was penetrated sexually. Pathicus and Cineatus are often not distinguished by in usage by Latin writers, but Cineatus may be more a general term for nonconformity, not fitting in with being a real man, while Pathicus specifically denotes adult males who take the sexually receptive role. Pathicus.
What if it's like queer versus faggot? Like queer can mean more things.
Oh, maybe. Pathicus seemed like really specific.
But used as a pejorative, neither is real great.
Right. Let's see. He may be penetrated orally or anally by a man or by a woman with a dildo and showed no desire for penetrating nor having his genitals stimulated.
Oh.
So this is like a total bottom.
Yeah. They're out there.
Like a no recip bottom. Yeah. Exolitus is a male sex worker who services another sexually despite the fact that he himself is past his prime according to the ephebic tastes of Roman homoeroticism.
Ephebic. I was just talking about ephebophilia. So okay, first of all, the over the hill part, hurtful.
I think over the hill though is like past the age of 14 or whatever the fuck.
Well, maybe. But also, I think that male prostitution, male sex work, was like pretty common and pretty bisexual.
Oh, that's sexy.
And I know that sex workers like sort of had a more complicated relationship to being bottoms because like it's a living, you know, like it was sort of like everybody wins in a way. Like, well, you're a sex worker, so, you know, less shame for bottoming because you're getting paid. I get to top, which is required of me to not be looked down on by society. So everybody wins.
Yeah.
Right? Like
with sex work, everybody wins. I agree, Mike. There's concubinus, which is a male concubine. Some Roman men may have kept a male concubine before they married a woman.
yeah.
Within
Some of them afterwards, if they were emperor.
within the hierarchy of household slaves, the concubinus seems to have been regarded as holding a special place or elevated status. That apparently was threatened by the introduction of a wife.
Great.
So his long hair will be cut. He'll have to resort to the female slaves for sexual gratification, and is expected to transition from the deceptive role to the penetrative role. Might father children.
Boy, that's sad.
You can no longer bottom ever.
Yeah, what if you're just a total bottom and loving your life, and then at some point they come in and they cut your hair and they say, top.
Top now, bitch. Yeah. What a sad life you'd have to live. They might father children with women of the household, not excluding the wife.
Oh, great.
So I guess sometimes your male concubine would fuck your wife and make kids for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Weird.
Why does Julius look so much like our concubine?
Yeah. Male concubines sometimes attended dinner parties with the man whose companion they were.
Yeah.
And a prized concubiness might pass from father to son as a especially coveted inheritance.
Oh my God. That's wild.
Yeah.
This one's real good, son.
Really liked fucking this guy.
Happy birthday.
Here you go. Take him and fuck him. Although that's kind of hot. There's
For the concubine, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Sorry.
To get passed around.
Yeah.
Great.
No, not hot. Or this is non-consent. If it's consensual, it's hot. There's Sprinthria, which just translated as analyst.
Analyst.
And had no other explanation of no other information, just analyst.
An analrapist.
Yeah. There's poor, which is boy. In the discord of sexuality, poor was a role as well as an age group. So to accuse a Roman man of being someone's boy was an insult that impugned his manhood, particularly in the political arena.
You can impugn me all you want to.
Yeah, daddy. There's poor delicatus, which is an exquisite or dainty child slave chosen by his master to be, because of his beauty, to be his boy toy.
Yeah, a delicate boy.
Yeah.
A pretty boy.
And they were sometimes castrated to keep their youthful qualities.
Oh, well, okay.
That sucks.
Okay.
What?
Do they get to keep their dick?
Isn't castrated just balls?
Yeah, usually. But, I mean...
Who knows what they did?
Who knows what they did?
Yeah. There's pullus, which means chick, a term for a young animal, particularly a chick. It was an affectionate word traditionally used for a boy who was loved by someone, quote, in an obscene sense.
Oh, no.
There's pusio.
Also hot.
Also hot. Some of this, is like should not be hot, but is. Let's see. There's Scoltimidonus, which is asshole bestower. And they were also called morbosus, which is sick.
Oh.
An adult male desired to be penetrated was considered a sickness. The desire to penetrate a handsome youth was thought normal.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
There are other words like mollis, which means soft. There's tenor, which means delicate. Debilis, which means weak or disabled. Effeminatus.
Effeminate.
Just one. Distinctus, which means loose belt.
Oh.
Loose belted.
That's hot.
Distinctus, yeah. Yeah. So those are some of the words that mean gay, and I think shined a light on ancient Roman culture.
I mean, if there's words for it, it means because it's happening.
It's because it's happening. And apparently it's happening in lots of different ways with various, boys and sex workers and
Levels of
slaves
hotness.
and different levels depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Real quick, we don't have to spend too much time on this. And the evil Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, has claimed that homosexuality was part of the downfall of the Roman Empire.
Oh.
And as part of the reason that we need to clean up our act as a society because God will punish us and make America fall.
Sure.
And it's really interesting because it was gay as hell for hundreds of years and we haven't even lasted 300 yet. And it's just, he's just wrong about that.
Yeah.
But they don't care about whether they're right or not.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you try to tell them you're wrong about, and they won't give a shit.
Well, so Roman emperors. Okay, so in the Patreon segment, I'm going to go through a lot of emperors and talk in depth. But I wanted to briefly go over just, according to one article, 3 that are super duper important. So I'll start the Roman emperor stuff, both here and in Patreon, though, by saying historian Edward Gibbon, who is not pro-gay, just so you know, signaled out Emperor Claudius, suggesting that of the first 15 emperors, quote, Claudius was the only one whose taste in love was entirely correct. The subtext there is that the other 14 emperors were gay, or
Wow.
at least engaged in homosexual behavior.
Wow, what a rude person.
Right.
What a rude historian.
What a rude historian, but also, like, even somebody super anti-queer could, like, totally admit that, like, only one emperor is the not gay one.
Wow.
Okay, so where'd this go? Here, hold on. So there are 3 that were covered in an article that I found on historyhogs.com.
History hogs. Go-to site for history learning.
But Trajan, Hadrian, and Elagabalus. So, and it talks a lot about how, like, as we've discussed, both in the vocabulary and in the culture and whatnot, it was really about, like, who was taking the dick, that whether it was okay or not. And so Julius Caesar apparently had a love affair with the king of Bithynia, Nicomedes IV, and that was some kind of a scandal by the standards of the time. But it was because the perception was that Caesar had assumed a submissive role. In fact, there were jokes at the time that called him the Queen of Bithynia.
Oh.
And so it's just important to realize that, like, even the emperor couldn't be too strong about flouting these cultural norms or whatever. So
Couldn't be the bottom.
also there was, like, the golden mean, right? Like, everything in moderation. And so it was like a little butt sex is okay, just don't overdo it.
That's not my philosophy.
Well, so Emperor Trajan apparently had a harem of young men.
Wow.
Like, and was not shy about it. And he was married to a woman, but they didn't have any kids.
Wow.
Now, that could have been because of a fertility issue or of some kind, but, like, this, like, I have a whole herd of boys on the side and no babies with my human wife.
Yeah.
Like, is that didn't help his PR.
Yeah, for sure.
Cassius Dio, who was a historian, and he explicitly stated that Trajan was, quote, devoted to boys and wine.
I like wine.
I like boys and wine. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, men. B-O-I-S.
Yeah, boys.
So Trajan, because he didn't have any kids, adopted Hadrian, who is considered one of the gayest of the emperors.
Oh.
So his adopted son was, like, super, super gay. So Emperor Hadrian, who built Hadrian's Wall, he was very focused on infrastructure during his emperorhood. So, all the way up north in the United Kingdom, near Scotland, is a wall that he built all the way from fucking Rome. He was emperor for 21 years, which is a long time because a lot of them either got killed or died or both or whatever. both. God, what's wrong with me? But so he had a desire to explore all over the Roman Empire, which was a huge ass area. And so he met a Bithynian boy named
You got this.
Antinous. And Hadrian and Antinous were an item. So Antinous was apparently hot as fuck. He was renowned for his exceptional beauty. He earned the title as one of the most beautiful boys in the empire by, I don't know, Hot Boy magazine in ancient Rome.
Yeah, during amateur night at one of the bars.
So he and Hadrian were like getting it on, and they went everywhere together, and Hadrian was just like clearly super duper into this boy. But he died during a tour in Egypt in 130 AD. And there's some, we're not quite sure what happened there, and a bunch of different rumors or speculations popped up about it. So some people said that it was an accident. Some people said that there was a jealous rival that killed him. Some people suggested that Hadrian was involved somehow in getting in him dying. Some say that he might have committed suicide, that he, quote, feared the loss of his youthful allure and sought a means of immortalizing himself.
Wow.
I don't buy that.
I don't buy that either.
Also, I don't think Hadrian was involved because after Antinous died, he elevated him to the status of a god. It was in Egypt that all of this was going down. Apparently, the Egyptian priesthood added him to their pantheon. So then that made a cult. So there was like a cult of Antinous worshippers that sprung up in Egypt.
Wow.
And
we're just trying to get a few people to show up to our shows.
Right. Exactly.
They had a fucking cult.
Well, maybe we need to murder a beautiful twink. And
then there'll be a murder podcast about us. And then followers. Ooh, this is a good idea.
All press is good press, Kyle. So apparently, like, Antinous worshippers were almost as many or numerous as Christians at the time, which they were trying to get their cult going too. Anyway, Hadrian and Antinous were like for sure an item, and he was elevated to godhood after he died by Emperor Hadrian, and the statues of him are all hot. Okay, and then the third one that this article says needs to be talked about is Elagabalus.
Bless you.
Who is, they call him, quote, the gay and possibly trans emperor.
Wow.
So he came from Syria, and he reigned from 218 to 222, so he only lasted 4 years. And but he really challenged Roman gender roles. So apparently he often would dress as a woman while emperor. There are some accounts that suggested that he had reached out to scholars and physicians to ask about the possibility of undergoing gender affirming surgery.
Wow.
Which, not without anesthesia.
Yeah, in those days, it was just probably like a bear trap. Just
right.
Like, ching, bye.
Here you go.
Yeah.
He married 4 times. And depending on who you ask, some of those marriages were with women and men. Traditional Roman values were like ruffled when he was involved in any sort of official arrangement with men. Apparently, he was a raging size queen too. He made a point of being with mostly dudes with giant dicks.
I mean, when you're the emperor, you can do whatever the fuck you want, I guess.
Absolutely. He got married to a Vestal virgin, which that harkens back to the Romulus and Remus story in a way. And so he was assassinated.
Oh.
And it's probably he was just too queer for school.
Oh, no.
And but also he was only 18. So he was
Oh, wow.
He was doing all of this like as a teenager and died at 18. So
can you imagine a teenager fucking running a country these days? Yes, I can. Sorry. I don't know why I said that.
Or bring all the hung studs to me. Okay, 15-year-old, calm down. Anyway, those are three. I'm going to talk about all 15 of the emperors in the Patreon segment, and this, I think, hilarious back and forth between two scholars about whether they were gay, bi, straight, or asexual.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Let's keep going, Kyle.
I have some
God,
data.
is this going to be the longest episode ever? It might be.
Wow. I have some data that I'm going to share with you.
Hit me.
I could not find Rome specific data, so I have Italian data.
Okay.
Closest we can get.
Yeah. Okay, great.
They did surveys of mainly EU countries. They had 140,000 responses across 30 countries, mainly EU countries, and it's about their safety and feelings about being gay, being LGBT in all these countries. So in Italy,
Who was it that did this?
an organization
Great.
that we love.
I've used a similar study in my work in my actual professional job before, so I was just wondering if it was the same one. But go
I
ahead.
don't remember. I usually write all this shit down, and I didn't write that down for this.
Sorry that I...
The one time.
Yeah, the one time I asked.
Every other time I tell you don't want to know, but the one time you ask. So 62% said they avoid often or always holding hands with their same-sex partner in Italy, which is about on par with the rest of the country's responses.
So wait, about average fear of PDA.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
For gays.
For gays. Yep. 30% in Italy often avoid or always avoid certain locations for fear of being assaulted.
Well, okay.
It's
why I don't go to Walmart, Kyle. What?
And 30% is lower than the average, the overall average, which was 47%. So below average fear of being assaulted. So
they feel more safe in Italy than other places.
Cool. Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah. It's a backwards way to say it, but yeah. 39% are now often or always open about being LGBT in Italy.
Okay. That seems sad.
That seems low, right? The average is 47, so it is below the average. 23% felt discriminated against at work the year before the survey.
Damn near a quarter. That's wild.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is for the U.S.
I wonder what it is for the U.S. That is on par with the overall average, which is 21%. 32% said they were harassed in the year before the survey.
Jesus. Harassed.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't count online, I haven't been harassed in years. Maybe I need to get out of my bubble. But
I think online counts.
I saw you get harassed in Boise. No,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
but I wasn't there for that. You told me the story later.
Yeah.
I shouldn't claim to be on the plane that crashed.
Yeah. Let's see. 16% went to the police in Italy to report physical or sexual attacks.
That seems really high to me.
The average is 14 across all countries, so it's not that.
Whoa. Okay.
I wouldn't go to the police if I was, I don't know. I guess it depends on what happened.
Oh, this is an ACAB thing, not a...
I don't know. Yeah. I just wouldn't, I don't know that I would trust anyone to actually help me. 37% in Italy say the LGBTI prejudice and intolerance has dropped in their country in the last 5 years.
How many percent?
37.
That doesn't seem like very many at all.
No, so it doesn't seem like, so most people don't think that it's dropped in the past 5 years. 41% in Italy say that prejudice and intolerance have risen. Let's see.
What year was this?
Motherfucker. I don't have this written down either.
Okay, great. So sorry, Kyle.
The only time I didn't written
because I think that I don't have any data. It's just a felt sense, and I know that I've read it other places. There is a worldwide lurch to the right that's happening right now.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if this is reflecting that.
I think it seems like it is. 8% in Italy believe their national government effectively combats prejudice and intolerance.
Wow.
So, no one thinks that the government is doing a good job at this.
No one hates their government more than the Italians, except maybe the French.
Let's see. 28% of LGBTI students aged 15 to 17 years old say they were hiding being LGBTI at school, which that seems low. Like, if only 28% are hiding, that's a pretty decent number that's not hiding.
Maybe that's just generational.
Yeah.
Because if they're in school, they're younger, and progressiveness about social attitudes seems to be trending. Although somebody was trying to, it's on our Discord actually, a bunch of people fighting about whether Gen Z is a bunch of like MAGA bros now.
Oh.
Anyway, go ahead.
I think some of them are. I mean,
sure, some of them are, but that doesn't mean like they might just be the loud, stupid ones.
That's true. Yeah, that's some of the data about Italy.
It's funny. Like I think it's just a strong association with the Catholic Church. I think of Italy as being less safe than other parts of Western Europe for queer people. I think of the Eastern European parts of the EU as being less safe for queer people, and then Italy. And then the further north you go, the better it is. And by the time you get to Iceland, you're required to be gay.
I think it's probably a lot like a lot of places where big cities are more chill with it than the other parts of it.
Well, speaking of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So Vatican City, or the Holy See, is technically its own country.
Mm-hmm.
But it lives entirely in the city of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the very few like absolute dictatorships or monarchies, depending on who you want to ask, left in the world, because the Pope just decides. That's just how it is. Now, Vatican City is how many people do you think live in that country?
I have no idea. I have no sense of size of how big it is.
764 people.
Wow.
That's
I
it.
would have guessed thousands, but
And they're all
cool.
They're all Catholic.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was really surprised to learn when I was looking up Rome and gay rights in Rome and therefore Italy, but in Vatican City, guess how long? I don't know how to do this the fun way, Kyle. In the entire history of Vatican City, how long has it been illegal to be gay?
Ooh, only recently, I'm going to guess in the past 20 years, they passed something.
It's a great guess. It was a trick question.
Oh.
So since 1890, Vatican City has had no criminal laws against non-commercial, private, adult, consensual, same-sex sexual activity.
There's a lot of adjectives in there.
Yeah, exactly. So non-commercial, no sex work.
Right.
But sex work is illegal regardless of the genders of the people that are involved. Private, meaning you can't
Do it in public.
no butt sex in public. Adult, so you have to be adults, and consensual. You have to same-sex sexual activity between consenting adults that are not trading money and doing it in private.
Right. Okay.
That has never been illegal, and that's actually one of the few places that's true.
Wow.
Lots of countries since 1890, when Vatican City was founded, have gone through different levels of legislating against gay sex. Now, the age of consent in Vatican City is 14 years old, but we're not going to focus on that too much.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just making fun of themselves at that point.
I guess so. Yeah.
They did it to themselves. That's wild.
And I thought this was interesting. So foreign diplomats, if you're going to be the representative of a country to the Vatican City as a part of the diplomatic corps, you cannot be part of a same-sex family.
Wow.
And you cannot be divorced.
Oh.
Because of church teachings about the sins or the evils of homosexuality.
I thought we already moved past
and divorce.
divorce as being a sin. I thought we were all like totally down for divorce these days.
Not the Catholics, man.
Not the Catholics. I guess not. Jesus.
In 2008, Jean-Luc Cohn-Deforge was rejected by the Roman Catholic Church to be the French ambassador to the Holy See. In 2015, Laurent Stefanini was an openly gay practicing Catholic diplomat who was rejected by officials to be the French ambassador to the Holy See despite being single.
You can't even be single and gay?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then France just didn't send an ambassador at all from March of 2015 to May 2016 in protest.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. Anyway, so Vatican City, completely inside of Rome, apparently is okay with butt sex as long as like it's just in private and you're not paying for it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's wild. It's really, really wild. And then looking at Italy, it was difficult for me to find any like Rome specific stuff. I think that's what you were pointing to in your data here a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But Italy is at least on paper really very not very, but like pretty progressive about gay stuff. So both male and female same-sex sexual activity has been legal since 1890. That's when Italy was formed. A civil union law was passed in May of 2016 that gives same-sex couples all of the rights of marriage except for joint adoption rights. It also recognizes same-sex couples as a family. And then in 2016, the Supreme Court stated that courts can allow a couple in a civil union to adopt their stepchildren.
Oh.
So trans people have been allowed to legally change their gender since 1982, which that seems pretty early.
Yeah, it does.
And discrimination regarding sexual orientation in employment has been banned since 2003. And the age of consent is 14 years old, regardless of gender or sexual orientation.
Wow. That seems so young.
Yep. Yeah. And Italy is among the few European nations to have had an equal age of consent for homosexual and heterosexual acts since before the 20th century.
That's great.
The only nations in which there has been an equal age of consent for longer than Italy are Turkey, San Marino, Monaco, and Andorra. Every other European country has set a higher age of consent for homosexual acts or banned them altogether.
Yeah, which is rude.
Which is rude. So at the end of the day, like Wikipedia is fond of putting a table together that's a summary of like if something is on our side of history, then it's a green check mark, and if not, it's a red X. The red X's for Italy are same-sex marriage. That's the big one. It's still a Catholic country, and they still have not allowed same-sex marriage, but they do have this civil union act, which I just always felt like that is just such a fucking cop-out.
Yeah. Yeah. We can only get a certain thing through, and we can't call you the same thing, but we can give you all these benefits. It's just like we can't recognize you in name.
The word isn't magic. You know what I mean? And it's also like, if it's because it's a sin in Christianity, well, isn't also being a Muslim, but you're not banning Muslim marriages. They're not Christian either. You're just focusing on same-sex marriages for what reason I don't understand, especially if you're actually going to allow them, but everything but the name.
Right.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it is.
The other ones are non-binary. So there's no legal recognition of non-binary gender expressions. So it's either male or female in Italy. But that's not that atypical.
Yeah.
There is no conversion therapy ban for adults. There is no access to IVF for lesbians. And commercial surrogacy for gay male couples is not allowed. Anyway, but there's a lot of green check marks on this list, and just like your Gata was saying, it's a pretty safe country in which one could be gay and happy and out.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Did we do it? Is there more?
The organization that did the study that I read is the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights.
Oh, that's not the one that. So I'd be interested in reading that if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. Send it to me.
I will. Nailed it. Rome gayer than you thought? Gay, just as gay as you thought?
I'm just glad that I found my people, Kyle. They're all size queens, apparently.
You finally feel like you're at home.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it is gayer than I thought. Like I usually think of the Greeks as being like the OG gays, and they are.
Yeah.
But I think that Roman society was just as gay and maybe even took it up a notch in some ways. And so I need to sort of readjust my stack ranking of ancient societies and how gay they were. Rome went up a couple notches.
Yeah. Maybe Rome doesn't get the gay credit that it deserves.
Yeah.
Which I think it deserves a lot of gay credit. Yeah, because it's pretty gay.
I did read that there is no gayborhood in Rome. That the queer friendly spaces are... There are a couple of clusters, but that they're fairly well widespread, and that demographically speaking, gay people are fairly well scattered throughout the city instead of being like in gay ghettos.
Okay, I read that the popular place to go was Via San Giovanni, popular hangout. There's the Come Out Bar and My Bar are popular gay bars that are by the Colosseum.
Oh, Colosseo. Prossima fermata.
Buongiorno.
Colossea. Uscite ladro. Destro.
Pizza. Spaghetti sauce.
My brain, man. I can still hear, 20 years later, the sound of the tram voice, the automated robot public transportation voice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's impressive.
Did we do it?
Yeah.
We talked about Rome.
We talked about Rome some.
Pip, I hope you're happy. If not, don't tell us.
Tell us you love us.
Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
What's Italian for break?
A break. Go.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
Are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do our gayest and straightest.
We're going to do our gayest and straightest, but first.
But first.
Head first? Anyway.
Ass first.
Ass first. Buy tickets to our show.
Yeah.
Come to it.
Come hang out. We'd love to see you.
8th birthday presents.
Mm-hmm.
Send us your gayest and straightest.
Mm-hmm. Buy our book.
Buy our book. Our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on social media at Gayish Podcast.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails, especially if it's your gayest and straightest. It's 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rate supply.
Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address for birthday presents is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109.
Gayest and straightest.
Yeah, we'll do our gayest and straightest.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
My gayest is getting on the bus ride home from your place and getting on Sniffies.
Nice. Do you just get off the bus? Do you try to anticipate where the bus will be so that you can maybe troll there?
No, more talk to people that I've previously talked to so they know they're in Capitol Hill, or I go to that area.
Got it.
And see who's around.
Excellent.
Preemptively. Yeah. I didn't hook up with anyone, so that's fine.
All right.
Well, not from Sniffies, at least. Anyway, my straightest is running out of underwear and wearing the same pair twice.
Oh, Kyle. Yeah, it happens.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
What are you going to do? Wearing your underwear more. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
Well, the straightest thing about me this week is now that I know that my fireplaces work, I went to light everything on fire.
Oh.
I just burned everything. Cardboard, yes. Paper, yes. Garbage, maybe. I'm a pyro now.
The straight urge to burn things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the gayest thing about me this week is taking care of my hummingbirds.
Oh.
I have hummingbirds now, and those little bastards are hungry. And I just keep feeding them and watching them, and it makes me happy.
Oh, cute.
But I think taking care of the birds is just gay.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a listener's gayest and straightest.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, my name is Kyle. I'm calling from Calgary in Canada with a gayest and straightest for the podcast. My gayest last week was that there's this frozen fish brand called Highliner. I'm not sure if it's down in the States or not, but it's like the fish sticks brand up here in Canada, at least. It's probably in the States too, but the man on the package used to be more of like a sea captain, and now he's gotten hot. So my gayest is that I posted this news to my Instagram story to let everyone know how hot the fish sticks man has gotten. Ask if I was alone in that assessment. My straightest is related because my sister then messaged me and said that I think the correct term is actually zaddy, not daddy, so with a Z instead of a D. And I didn't really know what the difference was between a zaddy or a daddy, so I had to look it up on Urban Dictionary, and can confirm that he is a zaddy instead of a daddy, but that's my straightest of the week.
I don't know that I know the difference between a zaddy and a daddy. I think zaddies might be younger.
And like fancier?
Yeah?
Better dressed?
Maybe? I don't know. This can be my straightest for next time too then.
And yes, I think that a sexual attraction to a fish stick guy is pretty gay.
I love it. And the need to let everyone know how hot the fish stick guy is also very gay, which I love.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. If you want your Gayest and Straightest to be played on the air, we will likely play it. Just send it to us either as an attachment to an email or to the hotline 5855 Gayish. Send a reply.
And thank you to Pip for requesting this episode topic. If you want to request an episode topic, go to patreon.com/gayish podcast and you can request there. You can support us and meet with us and chat through. So thank you to Pip. We appreciate you and requesting this, and it was great talking to you.
And thank you to Romans everywhere.
Yeah.
Including in my pants.
Yeah. Love their fetish for big dicks.
Yeah.
Also, thank you to our super gap bridgers. Thank you to Locomotive, Simon Srirachi, Kaylee Adams, Kid Oliver, Kobe Gordon, Squoggle, Pip, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crowley, Yost Osel, Jonathan Montañez, Forrest Nail, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Just Jamie, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. That's it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
Yeah.
See ya.
Et tu, Brute.
I'm getting sexted while this is happening.
Nice. By who?
By my former neighbor that moved away.
The hot one?
He's cute, yeah.
Great. Get it.